Angie here. So I wanted to show you how to make a really cool DIY project, which is, that's right, making your own blanket. Now I did get inspired to make this blanket because of this one. Now I purchased this one off of Amazon. It's a really big, thick blanket. It's so soft. I love the pom-poms. And I believe it was like under $60, which is actually a pretty good find considering that these can run up to like 100 to like 300 to even more. And yeah, I really did. I don't know, I'm proud of myself, guys. This was a really good find. But I told myself, hey, I kind of want to make my own. I mean, Christmas is coming, perfect way to gift this. And on top of that, I mean, it's aesthetically pleasing to have lots of blankets everywhere around your house when it's fall. Am I right? So, all I needed was the yarn, which is the material, my fingers, and a movie to watch. Cause you're gonna want to watch something when you're making this. Now, it took me probably like a day and a half to make this, only because I took my time. I mean, I started a little bit later in the evening, and then I went back at it this evening. So I mean, hey, I think that you can totally make this in less than an hour if you really focus, because it's so easy to make. Anyway, I added my own pom-poms to all the edges, and you'll be able to see how I did that. Super easy. So anyway, if you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe down below to follow me on this YouTube journey. I do a lot of DIYs, fashion, and on top of that, I'm actually working on my wedding series. I am getting married next year, so I'm really excited to show you all the DIYs and all the awesome savings. And you know, if you guys want to know advice, I'm here, guys. Like, I want to share what I know to everyone, so you guys can save money on a budget, right? Anyway, enough with the rambling, and let's get started, guys.
Okay guys, so first thing you need is your yarn. I went ahead and bought the Yarn Bee. It's the Eternal Bliss Ivory, and it was only $6.99. I actually found this one at Hobby Lobby. They were having a 30% off, and they always have a 40% off coupon online, so make sure you're always checking for deals. That way you're always saving money. So making this blanket didn't cost me full price. It was basically 30% off. Now, I ended up using like around 8 of these to make a huge blanket. First, what you're going to want to do is make sure you leave this much length. You want to leave length because it's going to be the end. Now we're starting with this much. I want to say maybe like around 6 inches or so. Give yourself enough room because you are going to be doing a knot. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to take the right side, and it's gonna go over, and then it's basically going to go under. So you're creating a, I believe it's called a latch knot, snitch knot. Sorry guys, I'll go ahead and find out what's the actual name. But anyway, so first you're gonna create your first knot. The pretty cool thing about this knot is you can actually pull it so you could get your desired length of how big of the loops do you want them to be. Now, the bigger the loop, the looser the blanket's gonna be. The tighter the loops, the tighter. So you're not really gonna get a lot of space in between. Okay, so now that you have your first loop, you're going to bring the rope underneath to create a second loop. And you're gonna keep going based on your desired length. Now, to get a really good length of a blanket, you want it to be between 20 to 30 loops. I chose to do 30 loops, which consisted of me using 8 spools of yarn. So once you reach the end, you're going to go ahead and basically flip it over. And like I said, just make sure you count how many loops you made, so that way you don't lose track of how many loops you have to do each row. Now on this side, what you're gonna do is a little bit different. You're gonna do double loops from the last end loop. So that's 1 and then 2. So now that you have your 2 loops, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do single loops, but you're gonna go ahead and put the rope underneath basically the first link that you see. So make sure you flatten out the basically the loops that you made so you can see the link that I'm talking about. So I'm talking about these right here. So you're gonna go ahead and pull the rope underneath and create a loop, and you're gonna keep going all the way until you're basically done with all your loops and you basically reach towards the end. So I'm basically making it short so I can just show you guys how to make this. I don't know, for some reason I totally forgot to record this part. So anyway, I am doing 5 loops just to show you guys, but if you guys chose to do 30 or you guys chose to do 25, then you would have 25 loops. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So now you're gonna work on the right side where you have the basically the loop. So you're not going to be doing 2 loops. It's only going to be 1 loop. So go ahead and just put it underneath and you're going to continue. And so I'm basically going to continue just making loops. So bring the rope over under and then go ahead and pull it through. Make sure your loops are basically the same length or as close as you can. And so now that we reach this side, we're going to go ahead and do double loops. Not 1, but 2. So just keep that in mind as you keep continuing working, is that the right side is going to be single loop and the left side it's always going to be double loop, and you will not be flipping it over, and you're going to continue until you basically get your desired length. So that is basically it for this blanket. Now I'm gonna go ahead and continue working on this, and then I'll go ahead and show you how you're going to basically cast the blanket, which means how you're going to basically seal off. So just make sure you leave plenty of yarn before we move over. So just remember, 2 loops on the left, single loops, and then on the right side, once you reach to the last loop, it's going to be a single loop. So that's pretty much it for making the blanket. And like I said, guys, take your time. It took me a day and a half. I could have probably finished this in less than 2 hours or even less than an hour. So I mean, hey, power to you if you can do it all in one sitting. Now, in order to continue the yarn, just go ahead and just tie a knot, and don't worry about the loose ends. We'll go ahead and snip them off as soon as we're basically finished with the blanket. So yeah, guys, have fun, and I'll come back to you soon once I'm basically done doing all the rows.
Say goodbye, no. Never gonna say goodbye, no.
So as I'm laying on the ground doing this blanket, guess who decided to show his face to the camera? It's Mr. Leon. He's so cute. I love him. Okay, so now that you reach the end, make sure you have plenty of yarn. I made the mistake of not having enough yarn, so I had to redo it all over again. So you're gonna do double loops. Now what you're gonna go ahead and do is you're gonna do a single loop to the next loop. So you're gonna have 2 kind of like facing each other. And so you have the first row and the second row. So now basically the second row is gonna go underneath, and the left loop is gonna go over. So right goes under, left goes over. Right is gonna go under, left goes over. But make sure you're also creating a new loop as you keep going. So that way you have two loops facing each other, and the right is gonna go underneath, left is gonna go over. So it's going to be creating kind of like a braid, and you're gonna keep going until you basically meet the end of the last casting of the blanket.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light.
So now that you're closer to the end, what you're gonna do towards the last loop is do a single loop, and you're going to go ahead and bring the right underneath the left. And what you're gonna do here is with the rope that you have, go ahead and put it inside, and you're gonna go ahead and do a knot. And go ahead and pull as hard as you can, but not too hard. And then what I'm gonna do is basically I'm going to try to secure it, so I'm going to make another loop just in case if I, whenever I wash my blanket, it doesn't get ruined or messed up. So I went ahead and did another loop. And now with the excess yarn that you have, all you have to do is basically snip it off, and you're going to go ahead and just hide the yarn within basically the loops that's towards the end. So just cut it to your desired length, and just continue watching, and you'll see how I hide everything. So you're going to go ahead, after you're done hiding that, you're going to go ahead and go back to the beginning, and you're going to hide that loose, basically yarn. You're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Just hide it within the loops. After that, just turn over the blanket. Look all over your blanket to make sure. Remember those knots we tied in order to continue the rope? Well, this is what I meant, where you're going to be snipping off the loose ends, and then it's basically going to hide in so you won't be able to see it. So now I'm going to show you how to make these pom-poms. They're so darn cute. So I actually made 6. I used the Yarn Bee, the ivory, and it was $4.99. It was like a thinner one. So what you're going to want to do is basically put it in your palm, and you're going to basically wrap it around 25 times. Now, if you want it fuller, then you wrap around more than 25 times, but I only did 25. So after you are done rolling this all over your palm, what you're going to do is basically just snip it off. And once you basically cut it, you're gonna make sure you have scissors, guys. So anyway, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and basically make sure I have the bundle very well, place it neatly on the ground, and I'm going to cut another yarn of string. So what I'm gonna do is essentially just basically tie it. So just do 2 regular knots and tie it as tight as you can, guys. And then after this, go ahead and leave one side pretty long, because that's what you're going to use to basically tie the blanket. So just snip all the loops that basically the pom-pom has, and basically all you're going to be doing is just reshaping it to your desired poofiness and how long you want the strings to be. So all you're going to need to do is make sure you snip, 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 and make 6 of these. If you did a blanket that has basically 30 loops. Now, basically the way I decided to do this was because I had 30 loops, and so you basically have 30 rows, and I made 6 pom-poms. I wanted to make sure they were basically distribute evenly within the blanket. So I basically did 5 rows in between each pom-poms of basically where I tied it. So go ahead and grab one of the basically the long end of the pom-pom. Figure out exactly where you're going to go ahead and lay your pom-poms. Now, I did a total of 12 pom-poms because I'm doing it on both ends. So again, just basically spread it out first before you start tying it. It makes it very easy to figure out where exactly they're going to be. So all you're going to do is grab the long string, go ahead and make a knot, and then go ahead and make 2 knots. Now, another thing that I did that I basically didn't show in the video is that I went ahead and grabbed 2 of the strings from the pom-poms and tied it within that, basically the loop from the blanket, to make sure it was really tightly secured. And I actually didn't want it to like dangle too much, so it basically helped it have like a tighter grip to the blanket. So that is basically what you're going to be doing all across how many pom-poms you want to put. And the best advice, guys, is once you're done with one side, just lay the other side on top. That way you can kind of like measure out where you're going to put the pom-poms. It makes it so much easier. So once you're done tying it, guys, this is it. This is the blanket. It was super easy, guys. Honestly, I'm actually gonna make another one. I'm going to basically use one spool of yarn so I can make a baby blanket for my dog, because he loves anything that's soft. So I figure I might as well make him a cute little blanket. So guys, this is it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. I love you guys, and stay tuned for next video. Goodbye.